the mindset that I personally like to tap into. I mean, I broke numerous things in that bathroom because
You
I was
just had a conversation with him. Like, have you thought about that in terms of a legacy perspective, like what you want to leave this game
I
eventually?
mean, there's just too many things out there that can easily throw you off track and become a distraction. But I promised her that, wherever this thing can take me, I'm going to take paintball as far as I can take it and where.
Photographer of the Year. Let's hear it for Dan Shelley, Shellda Photos.
Courage in my veins, running uphill, a wildfire heart that never stays still. I was born with a spark my daddy couldn't kill.
Before we dive into this episode, people reach out to me all the time on Facebook and on Instagram. One, not knowing that I had a podcast, but then two, they ask, how can they support it? And honestly, the quick, easy, and the free way to support this podcast is by simply hitting that subscribe button below. So if you can, take a moment before we start this episode, double check that you're subscribed. It means a lot. And by subscribing, I can promise you, I will continue looking for stories throughout paintball, throughout the world, and bringing them to you. Enjoy the episode. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Shellda Podcast, where today I got him. I got the legend in the game, the recent World Cup winner, Alex Mouse Goldman. Welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me, man. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done one of these, but it's good to be here and excited to do this episode.
Yeah, it's funny, throughout like the last few weeks when I've been telling some just close friends and Marcelo, I was like, yeah, Mouse has come on. And everyone's like, no way. Like, how did you get Mouse? And, it's been a fun journey because throughout the year, I now just hit my 1 year mark at doing this. And
Nice.
I would see you at events and you had a crazy year that we'll get into, but I kept saying like, hey, like when do you want to come on the pod? And you held true to your word. I think it was the second or third event of the season. You're like, you know what? I'll come on when I win. And so I backed off and I was like, okay, I respect that. You're definitely a hard worker. And so I don't want to keep pushing you and I'll hold you true to your word. And then I'll actually bring up a picture here. I don't think you've seen this yet, but one of my photographer friends took a picture of this. And this was literally minutes after you won World Cup. Walked up to you.
Oh, that's awesome.
Put my arm around you.
You're just confirming it like, hey.
Yeah. So tell me about that moment. Like, do you remember that? Or were you just like on cloud nine everywhere?
I was in awe for like a while. The win wasn't really like running through me and processing like it was for others I noticed on the team. It took a while, but I also was like super exhausted and dehydrated.
Yeah.
I even felt like sick before we went to dinner to celebrate. But
Wow.
I mean, it was obviously just an amazing experience. I think my mind just tries to like make sure I capture like every moment that's going on as that buzzer's ringing and we know we're World Cup champs. But yeah, you just try to soak all of it in. But and you don't want it to like um the celebration to end so quickly because you know how hard it was to get to that point and you really want to cherish it, so that whole day obviously was really special.
Yeah, that was such a iconic moment for you and for Marcelo, and like there's just so many different storylines on the team in that moment. And it's so funny, like as soon as you guys win, like immediately the NXL staff starts to like take down the field, and it's like, wait, we got this
Yeah,
iconic moment. Like, let's just hold it for a little bit.
that's oh, sorry if you have a question after that.
No, I was just gonna say, go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
Well, it's just I noticed that too, and it kind of like ruins the moment in a way because it was cool being on the field afterwards with no one really there. I kind of tuned out the refs and everybody breaking down the field, and obviously we really appreciate the work they do in the league. Everybody does a great job running these tournaments, but yeah, you almost wanted to like take a few moments to like just have the field for yourself and for whatever reason have the whole layout still up, just to like see, run back in your head like what was done on that field that whole weekend. But it is what it is. They got a schedule that you have to stick to and get that thing down and on to the next. But yeah.
Yeah, that's the the unfortunate part about our sport. But, going back to that moment, I just had so much respect for you because you had just won, and like I had waited, I did my stuff, taking pictures and whatnot. And then it kind of quieted down. And that's where I brought up that picture. And I was like, hey, you just won. Are you ready? And you're like, yeah, you know what? Let's do it. And I just had so much respect for you in that moment. I had talked to Marcelo after about it. And he was like, Mouse is probably just on cloud nine. He probably forgot about it already. And I was like, no, you know what? Like, I think he meant it. And so I just want to say thank you because you're a man of your word. And everyone that I've talked to throughout the league, like the Ryan Grays, coaches of the world, they all say like when you commit to something and you give somebody your word, your work ethic comes through. And so thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, it's a two-way street. I appreciate you having me on and being able to get some insight on me so we can clear anything up. And yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Let's jump into it. I think I think everyone knows this year was kind of crazy for you. So walk me through what your mindset was all year. Because you're a person who's you're not a lot on social media. You're not blasting your thoughts and whatnot. So like, what was that like for you as a person going through this year?
I mean, for me personally, not much really changed. Like as far as my routine and what I do on a daily basis, I'm very routine oriented, and I stick to what my daily habits are each day because I know that's what helps me get to certain points of achievement, whether it's in the sport or just in my life. And in this sport, unfortunately, you're going to lose more than you win. That's just the unfortunate thing of competition. So you have to also learn how to lose. One thing for me is winning for me is always felt like something that should be, I don't want to sound egotistical here, but like I put so much work in that it feels like it it should happen. Like it should, there's so much more that goes into it when it's a team aspect. But I feel and I make sure that I put enough work in where I deserve wins. I mean, no one deserves it. Obviously, it's there's so many variables, but yeah, I had gone into such a slump, and there was not one person to blame. But I just hadn't won in a while, and I kind of lost a bit of me as far as my confidence and who I was. I guess if you know me, yeah, for the most part, I'm a bit of an introvert. But when I open up, I like to joke around. And I also have a serious side of me when it comes to competition. I know how to focus and get the job done or whatever the task is at hand. So, yeah, I probably wasn't fun to be around towards the end of some of those moments with like ACD Soul and the some prior teams. But that's not anyone to blame. That's just me with going through growth. Sometimes you have to go through uncomfortable times to grow as a person, and that's what it was.
Hey, before we go any deeper into this podcast, I actually want to turn it over to Junior Brown of BFP Gear because he is going to talk about some of the best deals I have ever seen in paintball for the holiday season. Junior, take it away.
Thanks, Dan. That's right. BFP Gear's holiday giveaway is live now and it ends on December the 31st. For every $50 you spend on bfpgear.com, we'll get you an entry into the holiday giveaway. And we have some awesome prizes. We have free paint for an entire year. That's right. One lucky person is going to get a case of paint delivered to their door every single week. We'll have 4 runners-up that's going to get a case of paint a month, each month for 12 months. We also have a Field 1 Force Waffle Edition that you can customize yourself with your own anodizing style, work with Yosh at Field 1. You can even go to Field 1 and build it yourself. We have loaded gear bags from HK Army. You're going to have 5 winners that's going to get gear bags just jam-packed full of gear from HK Army. 5 more lucky winners are going to get custom Hormesis jerseys. You can go to their website, design your own jersey. You're going to get Hormesis pants, pack, and loads of other swag from Hormesis. We also have Dynasty World Cup jersey collection. One lucky winner is going to get the entire roster of Dynasty jerseys. So you have a full collection. And last but not least, one lucky winner is going to get a year's membership to the Dynasty Champs Club, where you're going to get gifts delivered to your door every single month. You're going to be able to join Dynasty in the Intel sessions, hang out with them if you go to NXLs in the Champ Club area. It's really cool. We appreciate everybody who shops on BFP Gear, and we love being able to do the holiday giveaway. Thanks a lot. Back to you, Dan.
Thank you so much, Junior. You know, I think that might be the biggest giveaway I have ever seen in paintball. And I've been around the sport for a really long time. So as you're heading into the holiday season, be a good teammate. Go over to bfpgear.com. Find some gifts for yourself, of course. It's always good to shop for yourself, but also grab some gifts for your teammates too. Because the great thing about that, every time you shop, whether it's for yourself or somebody else, you're getting entered into a giveaway. You're giving yourself a chance to win paint for a year. You're giving yourself a chance to win a free loaded gear bag, a custom Field 1 Waffle Force. You could literally deck out your man cave of every single Dynasty jersey from this year's World Cup. Talk about just an iconic giveaway. And then while you're shopping at bfpgear.com, you can also grab some Pro DNA gear. It's been so awesome working with Travis and ZP and the rest of the guys over at Pro DNA and Infamous this last year. I've been rocking their gear for the last few months, and I got to tell you, I can't get enough of it. Amanda can even vouch for me. The first thing I do when I come home from the office is I throw on my Pro DNA hoodie, because it is literally the most comfortable thing I have in my closet. I know it's meant for playing. I know it's got the reinforced sleeves, but I literally live in that thing. I wear it around the house and I wear it all around town. So head over to bfpgear.com, do some holiday shopping for yourself, for your teammates, for your family, grab some Pro DNA gear and enter this epic giveaway. All right, back to the episode. Yeah, thanks for opening up about that, because what you're saying is, I literally just heard a podcast today. I was on the Diary of the CEO, and he had some author on. And that's what the guy said. He was like, you've got to literally jump in and put your whole heart into whatever it is that you do. And no matter the result, like, you're going to learn something from that. And as you were talking about that, I just had this vision, you know, obviously the holidays are around, and it's like somebody who's in the kitchen all day, you know, you're preparing this beautiful meal. And then when you take it out of the oven, it's like, what the hell? Like, why is this burned? Like, I did everything I could.
That's a good analogy. Yeah. I think, yeah, to go off that, you know, the one important thing that you can have during tough times like that is a supporting role. You know I learned that, like, family is everything to me, because they've had my back through it all, you know. And I really cherish the moments with my parents and my sister. And also my close friends. And I really appreciate the people around me that have always supported me, whether I was doing well or going through tough times. So,
yeah, and just for context, because, you know, listeners are going to hear this a week after Marcelo's episode comes out, but you and I are recording before it goes out publicly, and you haven't seen Marcelo's episode yet. And so the cool part about some of your answers so far have been similar to what Marcelo has said, which is great, right? It shows that you two have very similar mindsets. And that was one of the themes I took away from Marcelo's podcast, or my interview with him, is going through the year that he had. He said it was all about the people he had around him. Like, it would have been the year would have been a lot harder if he didn't have people like you and his girlfriend and family and whatnot. And I keep hearing that theme, whether we're going through the highest moments in our life or like the lowest lows. It's all about the pocket of people that you surround yourself. And so it sounds like they helped you throughout this year quite a bit.
Totally. Yeah. You know, Marcelo, he had his own obstacles he was working with. But we both had a similar narrative as far as, I guess people would say, proving people wrong. You know, for me, I always tried to make decisions and do things for my enjoyment, with also trying to be as selfless as possible. But yeah, I mean, one thing I learned is, at the end of the day, I like winning a lot, so, and it solves a lot of problems.
Yeah, for sure. That's one of the things, watching you, I have a unique privilege from a lot of people, right? I get to be on the field with you. And so I get to see you in action.
Sure.
I get to see all your emotions when you're charged up, when you're frustrated.
Hmm.
And like the last few years with Diesel and whatnot, it's like, man, this guy's so talented. Like something's off here. I can't put my finger on it. And to see you at World Cup, like your energy was just different. I literally felt like you were a caged animal, like getting ready to just
Hmm.
jump out of it, because like you were
Yeah.
literally jumping to the box. You were so fired up. It's like you
Yeah, I
could
mean
tell it's just years of emotion coming out.
yeah, that gives me chills with you just talking about it right there. Um, I leave it all out there. When you put so much time and effort into any one thing, there's going to be emotion, good or bad. That's just, it's my art. I've felt like I've mastered this thing, but it's also my way of expression.
Yeah.
Um, so I have no regrets the way I go about it, no matter how it might look and be perceived by others. That's just you getting the genuine me. And hopefully, the one things that people can take away from it is this guy leaves it all out there and he's for real. Yeah.
Gosh, I love that. I going into this, I don't think I would have probably guessed my top 10 things that you would have associated paint with, like or paintball with an expression of art.
Yeah.
A great way to look
Right.
at it, honestly, because whenever you talk to artists or like you listen to interviews, they always say, I'm doing this for me. It's what I like and
Hmm.
it's what I want to
Hmm.
see. And you're saying
Hmm.
the exact same thing.
Yeah. I think like on the perspective level of paintball and competition, the way you have to be open minded and look at how to be able to win or learn in this game has to be. Um, it's never one way. Like you can have an argument with someone on how to play a field, but technically, a lot of times it's not one person was right. It's they both can be right. There just needs to be either an agreement to be on the same page, or to be open minded to see how others are trying to vocalize strategy or whatever the conversation and how it's going about. But I like to also use the analogy of fighting too for paintball because of the mindset that I personally have like to tap into and the role that I play. I feel like you have to be so aggressive a lot of times, and I'm not trying to physically hurt anyone out there on as far as throwing punches, but as far as mindset, I'm not a UFC fighter or boxer, but I could imagine at the top level in our game has to be a similar energy that you tap into for fighters as well, and as far as trying to get to a level where you need to get to be competitive at the top level.
Yeah, I've had a few of the what I would consider the top pros in the world in the history of the game on this episode, and they've all said that, where there's
Mhm.
a switch or like almost something you have to tap into before you step on the field. Because if not, that's where like that millisecond of like making that move or not, or like rolling out, like either you do it or you don't.
For sure.
What do you do
Yeah.
to tap into that? Like, is it music or like how
You,
do you get that mode?
it's weird because when I'm home and my routine, like getting up in the morning or going to the gym, I love music. I'm listening to music like, I don't know, at least 4 hours a day. But when I'm at the paintball field, for some reason, like music almost seems like a distraction to me, as much as
Wow.
it like motivates me through my routine outside of paintball. There's almost like a clear-headed space I need to tap into for paintball because maybe naturally the motivation's already there because I have such a passion for it, and I've been doing it so long, and I've never questioned um, my path through this whole crazy journey. I've just kept my head down and keep pushing forward. But one thing I did recently, and it started at the practices before World Cup, and I had done this before, um, but I tapped into it again, was a sort of a meditation. where I would go off on my own space and kind of close my eyes. Now, I wasn't doing necessarily like breath work or anything, or anything on like a spiritual level, but I was trying to remind myself because I had seen a clip on Instagram. I think it was like an actual monk was talking about. Well, actually, they can't speak, but some religious guy was saying that you should always remind yourself to be in the present. Because we get so flustered thinking about the past or thinking about the future, and that's been so much of me in recent time, is worrying about either the past or the future. So I've just thought, man, that's a great idea. It's like I know how to play this game so well, but so often I don't even remind myself just to go over like what I'm actually about to go do mentally. And maybe there'll be something there as I'm in the match that I reminded myself prior to the game, like that gets me ready for those moments subconsciously. Who knows? But I felt like it really worked for me personally, and I'll keep doing it and see what else is there. But yeah, I kind of just sit off on my own and just remind myself, hey, this is where we're at. This is what I'm doing. Let's go handle business. And yeah.
You hear that from a lot of top athletes, and
Hmm.
obviously in our world. Like I had Archie on a few
Yeah.
months ago, and he
Right.
mentioned something similar where he sort of visions what he's going to do. And whether you believe in it or not, that's a state of manifestation where when you're in that moment, that subconscious mind has already seen what you want to do and already seen that move you're going to make.
And I believe in envisioning it and speaking it into words before you go make it happen is a thing as well, for sure. Uh,
Yeah.
my close friends in paintball, they know, like, I in a way sarcastically say it, but I also mean it when I'm talking to them. It's kind of playful banter, but I'll always tell them, like, dude, I'm the best in this game and you know it. And eventually, like, it does add up. Like, I start to like play my best game the more I say it.
Yeah.
So, but you also have to believe in those words too. One person can say something, but if you don't believe you can go back that stuff up, then it's out of sight, out of mind, I guess. But
When did you tap into that? Because I think you've been obviously the top for a long time, but like when did you
mhm.
connect to that you were saying it and you actually believed it?
I mean, that dates back to when I was like 4 years old and I started playing soccer.
Wow.
Um, in the house I grew up in Orange County, with my family here. I would have like a smaller soccer ball than the actual regulation size that was played with in a match. And I would use my parents' bathroom area because it was kind of like cornered off with like four walls perfectly, to
Yeah.
where I could make like quick passes to myself and learn the ball handling skills. I mean, I broke numerous things in that bathroom because I would overkick the ball, or hit it too hard, or whatever the case was, and I got in a lot of trouble. But I spent a lot of time there envisioning, like, how a lot of kids do, making the game-winning shot, or always making a great play that was game-changing, but always envisioning that I was the best in that sport. And of course, that translated into when I got into paintball. I mean, it took me longer than it did for soccer, because I feel like in these mainstream sports, there's a easier foundation to kind of break down of what that looks like to become great, even though it's harder to get to the top levels. I feel like in some of these other sports, paintball is so intricate and so many variables. You have to take time and be patient to learn what that foundation looks like in this sport. And once I did, I was able to start to envision what that looked like for me, of being one of the top players in this game ever, to ever do it.
Yeah. So thanks for saying that, because I think a lot of people, when I would say that, like, hey, you're the best in the world, they're like, oh, no, I'm not. I still have a lot of work to do. But like they're just discrediting the work that they actually have done. And so I think that speaks something positively about you, that you're able to hold, not only say that, but hold yourself to that accountability that you are the best and you want to continue to be the best.
Right. Well, I mean, and if sometimes that works for others too, to make
Yeah.
sure they check themselves and stay humble. I also do a fair share of that too. You know, there's always that like weird fine line that you try to ride of like staying confident, but also trying to stay humble. So you know that that confidence doesn't end up biting you in the end because it can turn into arrogance.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's just a constant progression of learning. That's it.
That's life's work, right? Is like always
That's
learning
it.
something.
That's just life. Yeah. I'm never going to have it perfect, but I'm going to try my best. That's all.
What's something that people misunderstand about you, or that you think that they misunderstood about who you are as a person?
I feel like I probably do get spoke about a lot, but I tried to block that all out. So I'm not really sure what someone would have as far as a misunderstanding about me. Um, Yeah, I mean, maybe if you're watching me, I might seem like very aggressive, or and that can kind of translate to maybe this guy's an asshole, or
Yeah.
since I'm an introvert and I don't like go out of my way to socialize at events, even though I do feel like I show respect to any fans or anybody within the paintball community if they try to pull me aside to have a conversation. I'm very patient in that aspect, but you know, I yeah, I'm just not sure if anybody actually does have a misunderstanding about me, and if they do, they probably don't know who I am as a person personally. So there's only so much I can try to correct for people out there if they're making up their own perspective of me, and so
Yeah, and if you continue doing that, like you're spending so much energy trying to change someone else's perspective that you're wasting energy that you could be putting into yourself or growing your craft.
course. That's another thing is I'm so committed to this game that I really don't feel like I have the time or energy to think about what others are saying, whether it's good or bad. You know,
Yeah.
I first and foremost have to make sure that I'm in a good space mentally and physically, and then I also want to make sure the people around me, whether it's my team, my family, my friends, my girlfriend, that everybody else is also in a good place. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you ever go up a baseball fan at all?
No, but you know, I watched that World Series against Dodgers and the Blue Jays, and that was fucking inspiring. I mean, the Blue Jays. I don't know baseball, but from watching that last game, Blue Jays were the better team, but
Yeah.
Dodgers just stayed in the fight as long as they could, and just at the end stole it from them and took that one. And that was awesome to watch, and um, I became more of a fan because of they have that pitch clock now. I
Yeah.
think before the game would get dragged on
So long.
way too much. So now it's got a really good pace. So I would be um, interested into actually going in and watching some games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the reason I ask, I grew up a huge New York Yankees fan. I lived in the Northeast growing up, and I Derek Jeter was one of the people I had like on my walls as a kid. Like I
Yeah, of
loved the guy,
course. Hmm.
and the way you carry yourself and the way you like represent yourself just reminds me so much of what Derek did in his prime, where he really tried to stay out of like the limelight. You know, if social media was around the time, he probably wouldn't have been on it. And he really protected his family, his people by not being there. And so that
Hmm.
allowed him to, like, when he showed up every day, like his business mentality was on. And so I see a
Right.
lot of similarities from you two, where it's very routine focused, very like, you almost compartmentalize every part of your life, essentially.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, there's just too many things out there that can easily throw you off track and become a distraction. And these just aren't things that I feel are necessary to put any attention or focus in.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know how else to go into depth about that, but it's, I think for me, pretty simple.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the questions I had for you is, you know, in between events, I think that's where sometimes fans of the game or people that watch this podcast think, you're living the life, you're like living this luxury life, you got this huge contract, but I don't think people know like day to day Alex Goldman. You're still
Yeah.
putting in work. So like, can you talk to me about what that routine looks like for you and how you
Yeah,
continue to tap into that in between events?
for sure. I mean, I think as long as that I'm in this thing competing, you can appreciate the things you've accomplished, but I'm still in it competing. So it's I can only give myself so much grace until I hang it up. But as far as my routine, I'm very fortunate to be able to just focus on paintball. I do well for myself in the sport, but yeah, fitness and health are like my biggest priorities and biggest passion outside of paintball. I I'll wake up, I cook my breakfast, I cook all my meals. I go to the gym pretty much every day unless I'm absolutely just my body's thrashed and I don't feel like I can get much production in the gym. I'll take that day off. And but yeah, I have a few books here that I look at and think about reading.
It's the inspiration.
uh, I spend a lot of time with family.
Yeah.
I have I'm very appreciative of a new girl that's in my life that I've recently been dating. She's been awesome for me. Um, I've noticed girls that I've dated in the past, I've always needed to find someone that's very patient because in my routine, I am honestly very selfish. If that routine gets thrown off track for, you know, more than a day or two, I start to get pretty agitated.
Sure.
So it's it's tough for me to kind of do outside travel from paintball because I already feel like I get enough of a setback when I go to these practices and tournaments, especially, going to Florida just for practice and then traveling for the events. You That's the unfortunate thing with
Yeah.
working out in the gym. You have to learn a discipline and a patience because it takes so long to build that progress, but you lose it way quicker, like
Yeah.
days or weeks, but the progression to gain it is months or years. That's the unfortunate thing about that. That's why I always feel like I have to get back home and get to my routine. But uh, yeah, I mean, other than that, if the weather's good, I try to get outside and go on some hikes or go to the beach. I have my favorite beach spot. I grew up in Orange County.
Yeah.
I live here now, so it's been awesome. It's not easy as far as financially, to
Yes.
afford everything. But where is these days? It's getting pretty crazy. But yeah, I feel very fortunate for the life and the lifestyle that I've been able to have recent times, and it wasn't always like that. There was a time also where I was working 9 to 5s, and I was trying to grind just to preserve this passion of paintball. But now that I've gotten to a place to be able to just focus on that and my health and the people around me, it's been a blessing. But yeah, it wasn't always like that. Oh, and I play a lot of video games. Yeah,
What's the go-to video
every
game?
Call of Duty. We're on
Call
that
of Duty
Warzone.
stuff.
They just got an update. Yeah, so um, a lot of time spent on the video games.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. If there's UFC on the weekend, and I'll try to watch that with my dad. I spend a lot of time with my dad. If
Yeah.
anybody who follows me, they know that guy's a character. I try to put him on the story often.
Yeah. Tell me
Hmm.
about him. 'Cause, like I've seen you put him on your story a lot this year. It seems like he
Yeah.
means a lot to you.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's my best friend. He set the standard for me when I was a kid. This guy was running marathons. I don't know how often he would run a marathon, but I know he was running 100 miles a week.
Holy
And
cow. Wow.
yeah, this guy was crazy.
Wow.
And I mean, he would also lift weights. He was one of those hybrid athletes. I mean, this guy was incredible. I remember watching him. We used to have a bar area to obviously place your alcohol, but there was a mirror in the house I grew up in, and my dad had these dumbbells, and he's curling them with his shirt off, and I'm like, man, my dad's in like superhero shape. If
Yeah.
I could ever get to that point, that would be amazing. And yeah, I mean, he's inspired a lot of my discipline and drive as an athlete and who I am as a person.
Has that clicked for
Yeah.
you yet? That like you are at that point that you dreamed of when you were a kid?
Oh yeah, and my dad tries, tells me like you did it. You're the best Goldman to ever live. Or,
Yeah.
he definitely shows he's proud of me, and so does my mom and everybody around me, and it's awesome. But like I said, I'm still in it, and
Yeah.
I want to keep going and see if there's any other limits I can surpass or levels I can reach that I haven't yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more about that, like some of those limits, right? Because
Mhm.
obviously at the beginning of this year, and we don't have to talk specifics because I respect it, but like
Yeah.
numbers were thrown around for your contracts and whatnot. And
Hmm.
the crazy thing about money is if one of my best friends, right, this guy named Joel, if he were to tell me like, hey, I just got this crazy promotion for X amount of dollars, I would be so happy for him, right? I'd be like, holy cow, that's amazing. Congratulations. But money is such a weird thing where you really can tell people that like are in your circle or not. Because it's like, oh wow, that
Hmm.
guy, like, he just screwed them over, like he doesn't deserve that. And it's so crazy that a dollar figure now gets labeled to you and like it just overshadows all of the work and everything that you've done. Talk to me about that, like when the money gets thrown around and you start to hear chirps from
Totally.
people.
Yeah, it's that's a weird one for the sport, and it's unfortunate because it kind of takes away from the accomplishment that you achieve there.
Yeah.
Uh, but I never understood harping on someone that's getting compensated for the time they've put in for their passion. I mean, isn't that what's supposed to happen?
Yeah.
Um, it's just that's a weird one for me. There's this weird narrative where you have to like stay loyal to one team, but that doesn't work out in most cases, especially in sports. I mean, if anyone follows any sport, a lot of times you have to um, turn to the next chapter. It's doesn't mean that you can't remain friends with the circle you were once with, but sometimes, yeah, emotions do rise, and it can get a little weird when it comes to the offers in this game. And there can be definitely some animosity or jealousy or envy. I don't know, but for me, if I hear about another player in this game getting a huge offer, six-figure offer, whatever it is, I'm happy for them because that means that we are pushing the limits and the boundaries in this game. And eventually, if it happens enough, that becomes the norm. And that's exactly the type of standard for us as players we need to try to set. And the only way you do that is carrying yourself as a professional and treating this game like a real sport.
Yeah, I mean, the mic drop right there, right? Like that's exactly what we need is people like pioneers like yourself, where you're pushing the game
Hmm.
forward. And sometimes
Hmm.
the person that does that, there's so much hate around them for doing that.
Yeah. And
Obviously,
yeah,
go ahead.
well, I was just going to say those people probably haven't achieved something of that level, and especially in this sport.
Yeah.
So it's hard to see it from another person's perspective, but I also haven't walked in their shoes to understand what they're feeling when they speak in that way about these things. So,
Yeah, and it's funny. Like I saw that even as a photographer. I've seen that over the past few years because I've wanted to push boundaries of what I'm doing by growing a brand and now brands and partnering with brands. And I had a lot of
mhm.
hate early on of like, oh, this guy's just looking to get paid. He's just looking to sell out. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like I'm trying to help grow this whole thing. That way we get more eyeballs on it. We get people like you on, the legends of the game to open up so people can connect with. And so whenever you have people that are pioneers, you're always going to deal with some of that chirping, I think.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. And for you, I know that was going to be maybe one of your questions, but I do think you captured one of the best, if not the best, photo in paintball history.
Are you talking this one?
Absolutely.
I've got it right above me.
So,
Mark, he actually sent it to me, like a huge canvas of it. It's right here. Tell me about
I would like to get one of those as well. And my parents said they want one too. And some of my friends too wanted that. If you saw too on Tigerware, the homepage,
it.
that
Mhm.
photo's up. Yeah. So, um, I mean, this photo is everything for me because I should have done my research and been able to dig up. There's a photo of Oliver, and he was one of my inspirations early on. He has a photo that's very similar back in, and I was trying to figure out the year when I was trying to do the Google search. I couldn't find the photo, but he's on Dynasty and he's facing the crowd and he's throwing up a symbol that resembles Dynasty, and it looks so identical to that photo right here. And I remember looking at it as a kid, 14, 15 years old, and I'm like, man, I never want to imitate someone. I always want to be me genuinely. And but I thought, God, if I could ever get a photo of any sort of that level, that would be amazing. And I mean, that was natural right there. First of all, I didn't even know that. Like, are you sitting on the D side for that angle, or is that the start box? That's the
No, this
burrito
is the
side.
D side. This is D side. And it's
Yeah.
like
So
the cool thing
for
about
you to
this.
even think about it to get that angle, that's incredible. I mean, to capture the crowd and what I'm in that celebration. I mean, I was just doing that at that tournament. It's just you really captured the whole story of that tournament right in that photo. At least for me, on in a personal level.
Yeah, and you probably see this too, right? And I'll bring this back down so I could see you. But you probably see this as a player where during the finals, like the media just comes out of the woodwork, right? And like they're all usually they're on the snake side of the field, right? Because
Of course,
when that
yeah.
when that happens, you're turning to the crowd to get this like huge reaction. And I've always wanted a shot like you had mentioned where I get a player celebrating with the crowd in the background, but I've always been on the wrong side for it. And
Hmm.
so going into this finals, I thought, you know what? I'm going to stand over here. And if I get it, I get it. But if I don't, like, it's part of it,
I
But if I
mean,
do get it, I'm the only person that's going to get that shot.
it's
And
honestly, I'm not trying to just say that because I'm on your show and talking to you right here. It has to be one of the best photos in paintball of all time.
that's
Like, you don't
crazy.
even have to like me as a player to know that that's a great shot. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
you killed it. I
I
mean, all the media guys do a great job. I don't want
oh,
to not include, everybody, and they were on another level too at World Cup. I don't know if it's because there was a lot of good content for damage, but there happened to be like another level that was set there for the content guys doing the photos and videos at that tournament. It was incredible.
yeah, you're spot on. And
Yeah.
actually, you know what? I actually just found that photo, so I'm working on saving it right now, and I'll bring it up here, the one that you were talking about.
Hmm.
Um, but while I'm waiting for this to download, and I'll bring it up.
Hmm.
You're right. Like there was just something about the energy there. One of my favorite photographers, Matt Clayton, Eagle Scout Photography, he took a photo that I'll bring up
Okay.
here at some point too, of like
Hmm.
this old. I think he had a film camera that he used to take it, and so like he couldn't
Yeah.
post it instantly. He had to go back to his home, develop
Oh
it, but
wow.
then so like it comes out in black and white too. Um,
Hmm.
but it's so funny that you mentioned this photo because I shared it in one of my Discord channels, and somebody in there said, "You know what? This reminds me exactly of this photo
Wow.
you're talking
There
about."
it is.
Yeah,
It's
crazy. So that's
amazing,
all you were
man.
looking
It's
for.
so crazy.
I'm trying to
And
see if it said where it was.
even
Man.
more of a crazy connection to that was I had an amazing conversation before the tournament started on the sideline watching games with Oliver before this event.
Oh wow.
Uh, yeah, a really good conversation. I mean, easily like an hour. I mean, and it
Wow.
flew by because we were just hitting some awesome topics. And it's for him and I, it's always about like, how do you reach the next level in this game, or how do
Yeah.
you preserve um, when you're doing it well, or what does it look like? He was bringing up, no one talks about their like what your identity is going to look like after your career's done. So
Yeah.
that made me start to think there. But yeah.
Yeah, that's and I wish he and I kept recording, because when I had him on this podcast earlier last year or earlier this year, he had said something off air, and I wish we were recording, but he was like, we have so many players in the league that aren't thinking about what's next, which I get. You want to stay in the present moment. He's like, but I think we have so many players that are so worried about what their identity is without paintball, or once they step
Sure.
away.
Mhm.
Have you thought of, obviously you've just had a conversation with him, like, have you thought about that of a legacy perspective, like what you want to leave this game eventually?
Um, I mean, as far as what I leave, I want to, and I know I'm already doing that, but I want to, for myself, know that I left it all out there, and I gave it my honest best every time I geared up and stepped on a field. And I hope, and I plan to continue to do so. Um, I also want to leave a legacy of that I held a certain standard of being a professional and carried myself in a professional manner, and just really, you know, tried to raise the bar as an athlete.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
Let's take a different side of that question, and
yeah, yeah.
let's say your career ends right now.
Right.
Looking back at your career, what would be like the thing that you're most proud of, or is there like a memory that stands out to you that you're most proud of?
Um, well, when I was 16, um, I had moved. My parents got divorced, and my mom moved me and my brother at the time to the Inland Empire. We were in Orange County. We moved there, and I was going into my senior year, which would have been the toughest year to switch high schools.
Phew.
And yeah, I told her, if you put me in homeschool, which would have allowed me to, obviously I needed to still focus on school and studies, but it would have just been easier as far as my schedule, because at that point I was already turning pro, and to be able to focus on paintball as well, while getting through high school. But I told her and I promised her, I don't know what it looks like, but I promise you, and she was supportive no matter what. But I guess this was kind of like me signing up for a contract just to stay true to my word. But I promised her that, wherever this thing can take me, I'm going to take paintball as far as I can take it, and the farthest level that this sport has ever seen. And maybe that's an argument or a debate that people can have, but I feel like I've achieved that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you clearly have. You're playing
Yeah,
on a whole nother level, right?
yeah,
I think some people would equate you to like a Tom Brady, where whenever that day is that Tom Brady, of course, he retired, it's like the whole league lost somebody. It's like, man, like we just witnessed, 20 years of like this incredible quarterback, and we may never see that again. And so
hmm
I hope people appreciate when they're watching you play, or playing with you or against you, like that is something that we have right now. It's
yeah.
the old Oliver Lang analogy when he was playing.
Yes, and that's a great point. I think it would be awesome to inspire the next group and make the next generation mouse. Because that's what the Olivers, the Chris Lasoyas, the Mike Paxtons, the Shanes, the Mike Hinmans, all these guys, man,
Yeah.
they inspired my whole career at an early age,
You've
for one
got
reason or another.
You'll have thousands of listeners to this podcast all around the world,
Hmm.
and people that are divisional right now that want to be pro and eventually want to
Yeah,
take you off your pedestal. What's the advice you would give to that person who wants to try to aspire to be to your level?
I mean, you have to build a foundation for yourself. And what does that look like? Your priority should be discipline, which means show up to the field no matter what. If you're not picking up that gun and putting in time, then you're just creating setbacks. You need to have a foundation of always working on your fundamentals, but that's not everything. You can be the best gunfighter in the game, but you need to know, how to choose your battles. It's becomes a very calculated game. The higher of a level you reach in this game, and also on a mental aspect, you need to always remain coachable. One thing I don't think I noticed, because when I watch the kids that today, it's like, man, these kids can run and shoot. They can snap better than I've ever seen. I mean, it seems like they could probably outplay the old pros from back in the day. But
For sure.
what's missing, and maybe something I'm not seeing, is the mindset when these guys go back to the hotel and have team meetings, or what the coaches are telling them, and how they're taking in information. You got to be coachable, and I think the way that starts is always be a student of the game and be open-minded. You can have the confidence to know that what you are doing in the course you're taking is right, but I mean, even for me today in this game, I still take information from everybody, and I'll watch other pros like a student, humbly. I can think that I'm one of the best players in this game, but I know I can take certain bits of info that can help add to my arsenal, whether it's in a tournament, or for my career and the longevity of it. But I think that's one of the biggest things, is your mindset and approach in this game as a young kid. You have to be coachable.
Gosh, I love that. That's it's so crazy that you haven't heard Marcelo's podcast, because he had talked about
Wow.
uh there's the one of the questions was like, what's one of the hardest things to do? And he said winning. Because when you win,
Wow.
you have to learn how to stay up at the top. And that's the hardest thing to do. We all lose so much in paintball, but when you win,
Hmm.
how do you figure out how to stay up there? And
That's
so
a
like
good point too. Yeah.
so what you just described
Yeah.
essentially.
Right. So, but that is more so on a team aspect, because now the whole group needs to stay together, and that's like a synchronicity
Yeah.
aspect. Um, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Gosh, you're just
Mhm.
dropping gold for everybody. I love this.
It's in the name.
Yeah, it really is. Speaking of gold, talk to me about Tigerware. Like, it's exploded
Yeah.
in the past few years. Like,
Hmm.
what do you guys have going on? Where do you want to take the brand?
I mean, I got to give all the credit to Kyle. He is the absolute workhorse and the scientist behind this whole thing. He does pretty much all of the work as far as the creations, making sure product is developed and we get it into the booths and we're selling stuff. Um, One thing that's been awesome, in the off season, and we've had multiple close friends in paintball that want to become investors in the company. So that
Wow.
kind of shows you and dictates, like, we're on the right path here, and others are seeing the vision of where we want to take this. Um, Obviously, paintball has built the foundation for the brand and the company, but we also think there's something else out there for us, as far as maybe like a streetwear avenue, or something to be in stores for the casual wear. Because the one common theme you hear from customers, or even people that just come and stop by at the booth or look at the website, is the quality that they notice in the clothing, and the detail of the designs. And of course, Kyle has done an amazing job, and he puts his heart and soul into this thing. And yeah, it's
Yeah.
but as far as where it's going, we just want to continue to be consistent with the booth presence at regional events. Hinman does a great job now. He's tapping into the Florida region, so we try to get out there. He's got the Texas and SoCal, so we try to hit all those spots. And then obviously the NXL has been the biggest boost. Once we made our first appearance with the booth at World Cup, was huge. So yeah, just trying to stay consistent with that, and see what happens with who we add to the team as far as the brand going forward here. But it definitely looks like progression's on the way, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, that's been the cool thing of watching the Tiger Woods progression. You know, when you walk down the vendors at whatever league
Mhm.
it is, you know, you see a lot of paintball shirts, and like you can just tell, like it screams a paintball shirt. It's so flashy and colorful. Like what I love about what you guys are doing, I would take a Tiger Woods shirt and I'd rock that downtown. You know, I'd wear that to the
That's what
office
we're
when I'm going to work.
and and that was our goal was, the companies that are in paintball currently, they've done their thing and they do a great job of catering to what the paintball community seems to like, the majority of them at least. We want to, whether it was the majority or not, stay true to us and have clothing and stuff you could wear that you felt comfortable going out to, a dinner or an outing with friends. And it seems like we've stayed very consistent with that. One thing that's pretty cool is, and I'm sponsored by HK, but those guys have been like our inspiration because we got to see them when they were younger. I was a kid. They would just pull up to the paintball park and have like, I don't know, 20 headbands in the back of their car and start trying to sell them in the parking lot. And
Yeah.
then, look what they've created now. So they've definitely created the blueprint for where you can take things from the ground up.
I mean, they were pioneers, right? And like, if you think the
Absolutely.
first Tiger Wear booth that you guys had and probably how chaotic it was to now,
Look like a garage sale. Yeah.
yeah, you know, in maybe 5 or 10 years, maybe you guys have a small warehouse that you're shipping and fulfilling out of.
For
So it'll
sure.
be cool to see the progression of it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Warehouse, a shop. Those are all some of the goals that we'd like to
Yeah.
reach.
Gosh,
hmm
I love that. Man, this has been so good. I so appreciate you coming on and opening up. You know, you don't do a lot of podcasts, which I respect and I understand. But for you to come onto this one and open up, I think more than what you ever have. I
hmm
think the paintball community is really going to appreciate and respect you for coming on for it for sure.
Yeah, I've always been a person that believes in actions speak louder than words, and I let my game talk. I'm also, I mentioned earlier, I'm an introvert naturally. But I do appreciate, the support and the fans I have, and I do notice them, just because I don't respond, and I like to, I call it the post and ghost on Instagram. I notice the love and the support I do get and have within the paintball community, and I really do appreciate it. So yeah, it's been an
Yeah,
awesome ride, man.
it really has. You know, it's similar to
Mhm.
you. Like I'm at the field almost every weekend taking photos locally, and
Yeah, where do you live?
I'm in Austin, Texas.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm right like smack dab in the middle of Paintball Fit is north, and I've got X Factor and all
Yeah.
those guys down south. So like I'm right in the middle of the heart of it.
So you go to either one of those?
I've got a local field that I literally it's 10 minutes from me. That a lot of
But
I've
there's
got
no
some.
pros that play there.
No,
Yeah.
Notorious used to play out of here, but of course they've kind of
Yeah.
disbanded and done other things.
Man,
So
Austin's one of my favorite cities in Texas, and they have I like comedy a lot. I always wanted to go see the Kill Tony show that's in Austin.
yeah, when you come back, let's go.
Oh, if you go to their website, I mean, they have it booked out for months and months. You have to like know when they're gonna drop the next release of as far as tickets and be on it like within seconds. It's pretty crazy.
We
If
can make it happen.
yeah,
We'll make
well,
it happen
if you can help me, I'll definitely get a flight out there.
for sure. I'll look into it because
Yeah,
I know
all
some
right,
folks in the area.
for sure. I'll be there.
But I've got a closing tradition, and I've
hmm
worked really hard on getting you and Marcelo back to back because I thought it'd be so cool for whoever it was first to leave a question for the other person. And so if you've seen in the episodes, I always have a guest leave a question for next week's guest, usually without knowing who it is.
Oh
And
wow.
because it's a cool way to connect everybody, right?
hmm
And because I usually record sometimes a few episodes in a week, the person won't even be able to see what the question is. And so Marcelo left a question for you, knowing you were going to be on, and we touched around it a little bit, but I want to go a little deeper, and this will be our last question. Um,
Yeah.
in between events, so it's so easy for people to take a day off. You had talked about your routine was so structured, but like, what's the motivation? Like, how do you stay motivated in between those events to keep going to the gym every single day?
I mean, it's a passion for me. So it might look like there needs to be motivation, but I've built up a discipline where motivation doesn't even need to be a factor. It's something that I have set in my head that this is what I'm going to do. I also like the results that I get. They make me feel good. I feel healthy. I feel strong. I feel confident. So I don't know why you wouldn't want those type of things in your life that make you feel good and feel good about yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, if I had to guess, it's the short-term win over the long-term gain, right? Where if I go upstairs and like I eat a bag of cookies, it feels good right now. But if I do that every single day, like over a few months, I'm like,
That's
man, what
true.
happened? I got so fat. But that's the long-term
Yeah.
result I'm not going to see for a while.
Well, yeah, I think there's both though. In short term, you achieve that hard workout that you just put yourself through that no one else told you to go do, makes you feel very accomplished. Um, and for me, I don't have a whole lot going on throughout the day, so I like to really put myself through the gauntlet when it comes to stepping in the gym and
Yeah.
feeling like I achieved something in there on a daily basis. But yeah, as far as the long term goal, yeah, the human mind is so weird. We're so hypercritical on our own self, and I always am wanting to achieve another level of fitness or health that is probably not even feasible. But you have to think that there's more, so you can keep pushing. Yeah.
That's where innovation comes from, right? That's where the
Hmm.
greatest things in the world come from is how do you do that 1% more than anybody else?
For sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. Well, Alex, this has been great. The pressure's off, though. You get to now leave a question for each week's guest without knowing
Yeah.
who it is. And it could be anything. Like people
Yeah.
have had, obviously, Marcel asked a very specific paintball one. Some people have asked off the wall, like, what's your favorite, food? Is soup a cereal or chowder? So literally, however you want to take it.
Okay. Well, but you only usually have paintball guests, right?
Yes, 100% only
Okay,
paintball.
because that will only make sense for my question. So I used to, like years ago, do this thing on my story where I would go up to like random people, whether it was pros or just anyone, and ask them who their top five was in the game. And I was always just curious. Obviously, I want to hear my own name, but that's irrelevant for whoever you have on next. But
Yeah.
yeah, that would be my question: is who is your top five in paintball?
I
I
love
always
that.
think that's a great question. Yeah.
Yeah, and if I can, I'm still working on the schedule. If I can get this person on, I'll tell you off air who it is. I think
Okay.
their
Yeah.
response will be pretty unique.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, Alex, congratulations on just an epic ending to the year.
Mhm.
And I'm honored to be a part of your story now with this photo. We've got to get Kenny and Marky to get you a print of this so you can have it
For
for
sure.
your place too.
Come on, man. I'm in the photo. Please, I gotta get one.
That helps the guy out. Well,
Right.
everybody else, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Shellda Podcast, and we'll catch you next time. See ya.
Thank you, guys.